Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Jessie. I'm gonna have the immersive English learning channel. Let's practice IELTS speaking English with me. Let's go. So in my video, I'm gonna talk about part 2 and part 3 of IELTS speaking exam. So for part 2, I'm not gonna give you one example, and you can also find a script underneath. And for part 3, usually part 3 can determine whether we can get a higher score or not. Although examiner can only give us like no more than 5 minutes to answer maybe 3 to 5 questions. But in my video, I'm gonna give you one example and I will try to extend my answer as much as I can, so as to give you more thoughts about how to answer part 3 of IELTS speaking exam. Okay, let's go. Okay, for today's topic, describe a person that you have met who you want to work or study with. We always have friends that we are so compatible with, and somehow, when we are talking about one person that I want to work with or study with, off the top of my mind is a person that has been friends with me for years. Well, her name is Julie. Well, she's a smart, funny, and hilarious girl. She is one of my best friends. We got to know each other in the graduate school. We attended the same compulsory courses and cooperated on the group projects together in the campus for almost 2 years. Up to now, we have known each other for almost 7 years. Even though that we don't live in the same city, we never drift apart. We always catch up with each other and keep up to date with each other's life, sharing our joys and complaining about worries and works and life, and imagine about our future, something like that. I think there are 3 major reasons why I feel so compatible to work with her. Well, first and most important reason is that we have so many traits in common. Both of us are very responsible, hardworking, and pursuing perfectionism. Well, sometimes group work can be really tricky, especially some of your group members want to slack off and don't want to do any quantity works and want to rely on others. You have to suck on it because eventually all the group have to hand over the works as a group together. So it is really crucial, to pick the group member to work with. So somehow, I work with so many classmates and I found that Julie was the most accountable one. She also regarded me in the same way as well. Thus, both of us are willing to take more responsibility, share more workload. And once the work is assigned to us, we are responsible to the end about this project. Both of us don't have the heart to incur more workload to other group members. And also, when you work with so many different people, just realize people have different perspectives regarding the trade-off between the quantity and the efficiency of the works. So some people are willing to sacrifice the quantity to meet deadlines. Some people think in the opposite way. However, Julie and I always see eye to eye that we don't want to sacrifice neither the efficiency nor the quantity of the work. So somehow, if we have a pretty tight schedule, we are willing, to stay up late, even put all-nighter to get things done. And we never ever follow up on works at all. We have to make sure that the work's quality is up to the mustard, and we don't want to fail to live up to our own expectation. And secondly, somehow we found that we are so complementary to each other in our personality. Because Julie is very smart, she is full of imagination and creative. She always can come up with some great ideas. I have an opposite personality. I am more vigorous and pay much more attention to details. And I always like to make plans and stick up to the plans. So I'm the one in charge of execution part, and she's the one, to come up with some great ideas. We always have brainstorming together, and I'm the person, to make all those great ideas, original ideas to come true. So you see, it is really comparable for us to work together. We are like perfect partner. And the third reason I want to work with her, probably just because that I think Julie is a bright person, and she also thinks that I am a person that my heart is in the right place as well. Somehow if you want to work together, you definitely have to trust them. So trust is the most important thing. And also, we are willing to compromise as well. Somehow when you work with somebody, it is inevitable that you're gonna fight, have some different opinion, or even have some conflicts with each other. And Julie and I always believe that a little bit give and take would make a difference in the result. So somehow, so we can always communicate efficiently. Even we have some different opinions, we can just figure out the best way to solve them and make a halfway to deal with all those problems. So I think that is the perfect reason we want to work together. While in the future, we want to be the female entrepreneur. So maybe we want to have our own startups And I feel like, somehow I will work with her, to do something really amazing and make something of ourselves. And I believe that she's like a perfect person to work with because I believe in her competence, capacity, and also I trust her personality. So that's my story. That's all. Thank you. Well, for part 3, the question is, do you think it's necessary to have a good relationship with your neighbor? Definitely, we should always have a good relationship with our neighbors. And you don't need to bond with them somehow, but you still have to make sure that you have a relatively distance, not crossing line, but really friendly relationship with them. There is a Chinese old saying goes that distant relative, your brother or sister, is not that helpful as a nearby neighbor. When you have a good relationship with your neighbor, it is really beneficial as somehow it is inevitable that you still need someone to lend you a hand sometime. For example, such as babysitting, giving a ride, or you just simply ask them to lend you some small things such as seasoning ingredients, breakfast, medicine, something like that. For example, somehow, when you are cooking and you just found out the sugars or salt were out of stock, instead of, going outside to buy all those things, you can directly knock the door and ask for those neighbors' help. And in some special occasion that the neighbors can even save your life. For example, somehow, so you feel that you were out of sorts under the weather, or somehow your kids get injured, you get injured, or you even come down with some acute disease such as the stroke, the heart attack. You can knock the door and your neighbors can at least they help to make a phone call to call the ambulance, or they can even give you a ride, to take you to the hospital or something like that. As far as I know, that during COVID-19, when everybody locked down at home, somehow, lockdown was on a short notice. So you don't get fully prepared. Somehow you like special daily necessities such as vegetables, such as meat, something like that, and you can directly ask for your neighbor's help. And some people even ask a neighbor, to give them some Coca-Cola or some instant noodles because they're knocked down at home for so many days that desperately want to have some snacks or something like that. Your neighbors can be really important. On the other hand, just imagine that you have a terrible relationship with your neighbor. You cannot imagine how your life can be. So somehow, for majority of us, your home, your apartment is just like a safe harbor where you can directly, let your hair down. You have a good time. You definitely are not willing, to let any danger, risks, worries, annoyance, be around you or near your home or even near your kids or your loved one. But when you fall out with your neighbors, your neighbor who live opposite to you will be like a time bomb near you. It will be really dangerous, or you feel so uncomfortable with that. And somehow they will likely cause troubles for you. For example, littering around in front of your door, or just making super loud noise after midnight or something like that. Somehow you have to meet them, in those public places. And when you have a fight with them, well, just infect your mood and give you some negative energy, around you for your whole day. That was definitely not good. And even in some countries that, for example, in China, some Chinese neighbors would put a mirror in front of their entrance, which means that they want to reflect the bad luck of their home to the neighbor's home. Those irritating behaviors will definitely not hurt you, but somehow just make you feel so edgy and uncomfortable. You don't even want to live in your apartment and just want to move. Even the neighbor that you fell out with don't make any movement. You are always paranoid that they're gonna do something in the future, gonna do something bad to your kids, to your loved one. Your carefree life will be totally ruined by, this neighbor. So somehow just try to make sure that be polite and never ever, have a bad relationship with your neighbor. And try to be nice to your neighbor. It's gonna make every day perfect, comfortable, and carefree. That's all. Thank you. Okay, this is the end of my video. If you like my video, please thumb up. If you have any comments or questions, you are really welcome to leave a message. If you want to get to know more about IELTS speaking exam, please follow me and ring a bell. You will never miss my updates. Thank you. Bye.